All right, so that's time for that Eisenhower Health. Noticed you guys are getting started. I saw the parts on the break this weekend. A little WSA action. Just want to, say thank you to the one guy that stopped by, but he had himself quite a lesson. Also, just want to say happy birthday. Got a birthday in the house, Mr. Bolt. Happy birthday. What are you? 42? 38? 39. He's 39 years old, we'll say. Wise old owl. He knows the ways and the wisdom of the earths. So it's his birthday. Happy birthday, man. Go get it. Long time subscriber. So anyway, so we got this guy here. It's the one that goes on the wall. Just want to kind of show you a few things about it. Also, this originated as a 2025 file. I'm currently ditching 2025. I'm going back to Corel Draw 2021 and a half because Corel 25 seems to be a dumpster fire. But it's like it doesn't keep up. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that this has been converted or what, but it doesn't act like this normally. So bear with me on that. I don't know why. Look at that. What's going on here? Ghosting. Huh. All right. That might be something to do with that. So anyway, let's do the lay of the land. And then I got a quick video. I went out on site, so I'll show you what you're dealing with. Compare the apples to oranges. So here's the lay of the land. Let's get after it. So we got the backers, you got the jiggies, and you got the skins, and you got the lids that go on top. And kind of show you, because this is kind of mimicking what's already out there. We got some little power boys that go in. I'll show you how my idea on those, because there's not really a whole lot of room. So, and then these are going to be the wall brackets. Those are going to be out of 1/8 just to get some beef. Just got some regular channel letters. Or, well, reverse, but just regular normal styles, 2-inch deep. And then we have the backers, trying to keep it light, 063. And the usual Macrolon, Tough Act. You got your logo, or you got the existing logo, but you have your patterns for install. So the idea is that, let's show you what we're dealing with here. I'll pop up the player here, and we're going to go take a look. So you can see 3/4 inch standoff, 2-inch letter and stuff, but you can see the kind of funk that we're dealing with here. So we got the switch on the end, and by the way, UL fail. So we installed these in 2009, so that's how old this is. So the idea was that this word was going to go away, the Eisenhower actual word itself. So the idea is that Eisenhower was going to be replaced. So we were going to use this existing Raceway, and then you cats were going to actually just make the small add-on boy. Shout out to Coffee there. You guys were just going to make a small add-on boy that kind of goes in the end. We are going to keep this logo, but you're going to have a new backer. And oh no, you know what I think is, the backer also. I think we're going to change the backer out too. That the backer's the same. We're just using all of that. But the idea was going to be use this existing Raceway. But upon further review, and when I started to make this, it was supposed to just be this chunk, and then we were going to replace, Eisenhower Health. Now you can see just how funky the old was, because you're making the whole new Eisenhower letter. But once we go to put the new words on there, you're going to see the power holes, and you're going to see all that. Plus the Raceway is super faded. Where the letters are, you can see where it's supposed to match the color or whatever. So when we slide this down and change, the paint color would also look like rubbish. Plus, working on these boulders, that means installs using a paper pattern to match this. And anyway, huge nightmare. So when I started to actually make the letters and make the Raceway, I realized that I'm already making 1/3 of it for the add-on Raceway. And then also you saw where the switch is right there. We'd have to figure out how to rewire all that. And you're doing all of that, in the field, on the rocks, trying to make all this work, make that switch work, light up all that. So I decided to make an executive decision that it's easier for you guys to just build one big old Raceway and then get it all taken care of. And it's all new. And that way you guys can wire it all up, make it sexy. And then that way install, just doing them a solid. They don't have to deal with all that in the field, like ripping out 12-volt wiring, rewiring the whole thing in the field with existing power or Raceway nonsense, instead of just so fresh, so clean, just start all crispy new. So that's the idea. So I did the executive decision. If for some reason Jim decides, he comes out and says, why are we doing a big old Raceway? That's it. Just tell him this is the way it was. That wasn't going to work the other way. So anyway, so you got your letters, 2-inch depth. You make those. I do have a backer. All this makes sense, but that's a backer for the LEDs. So the idea is you can just go out there and install can just rip out. They can just, or they don't even have to rip out the LEDs. They can if they want, but they should be able to just take the face off, and then they can be able to frap that in there and wire it up. So that way it's easy for them. They can this will just 4x right over everything existing. So the idea is put the LEDs on this and then give that a leash out. And that way they can connect to maybe the E right here. So you can get this all wired up, and you'll see where the power supplies are in the center there, like I like to do. So we try to evenly, look at this, what's up? So like evenly disperse there. So, but go ahead and for that existing logo thing, go ahead and make a nice leash that they can tie in when they get there. So, but otherwise it's all this, it's like you do. The one thing that's kind of different that we don't do is that the way this mounts, you can see where, like right here, I kind of point out where it's got, there's like a bracket. So you can see right there's like a bracket right here, and then it's open, and then they slide it on, and they're just going to shoot a number 10 frap or a quarter 20 or something. And then these are kind of placed along. So again, if you can imagine having to use this existing bracket system, and then we have to mate a new Raceway to this existing bracket system. So we have to actually make 2 different patterns, one with our modern and then this with this bracket system. It's just what a nightmare. So I figured this would be the best way, but I'm mimicking the way this is. So the idea is that each of these is going to be a cutout for where those brackets go. And then they're just going to sit right here. This is where the brackets go right there. And then they're just going to shoot through. And then on the lids, I made little clearance holes to go over those number 10s. That way it's easy access and all that. It just happened to be that you can see where the lids are in between the mounting, but for this Raceway, it wasn't going to work that way. Just the spacing was going to be a little bit off. So it's just easier to do it that way. So they'll have clearance holes right there, and that just gives us 3 lids. I tried to make the cover or the area here, try to be, water friendly for the switch and all that. For that power, you're just going to put the switch on the end, and it's going to be this cool little new, I'm giving this a try. It's super skinny, trying to get it in there, but you're just going to make this little birdhouse, rivet it all together. This time the flanges do go to each other. They go inside. Normally I try to make flanges out to keep the rivets out of the box for water, but it's just, there's no room. So this time you're just going to take the back and then take the front, put it together, rivet the hat on, and then there's a little bottom boy. Then it goes on there, and then that'll be your space for your switch. And then you're going to do some long number 10s. These are 1.5 inches. And those are going to grab these 2 holes here. And then from the inside. So you'll put it on the inside here. And then you'll put number 10s through there. And then that'll give us our switch, a little recessed pocket boy like we do. And it's got a severely modified switch plate. So that'll all work there. For your the mounting brackets themselves, those are 1/8 inch, and I'm just doing rivets. Save you guys some welding. Just rivet those together, and then install is just going to go shoot those onto the wall, and then you're going to have these big old pockets. So the idea behind these pockets is go ahead and make the Raceway all in one shot. It's just going to be one giant 4x6 square rectangle tube, all hollow. So I don't even have any like bracing in there. I'm just relying on the fact that this thing over an arc is not going to twist that much once you get it all set and done. So what I would do first is make sure you get all of your jiggies. I would just rivet those together to start with. And so your top and bottom will be essentially one giant long, 200-inch jiggy, and then a bottom jiggy. And then once those are on there, then go ahead and rivet together your faces as one big face. And then you can just kind of start clecoing and work your way. But the idea is that it will be all sort of one big boy, front and back. And then once you get everything tacked together, and maybe even after you get all the skins on to get the strength, so you get the top skins all lordsed on there and everything's looking good, that's when you're just going to, I have the duck saw, but you don't have to use that. You can cutting wheel, you can use jigsaw, cordless boy, whatever, but just connect the dots. And you're going to go to the outside there and just clean it up so there's no jaggies. But you're going to, because I have a reference kiss as well. So you're just going to go to the outside of that and just connect the dots along the reference kiss. Well, you're not going to see it because it's on you're going to be from the outside. But just connect the outside and just make everything's, and then of course, make sure, don't set anybody up for a okey doke. Make sure it's nice and clean. No sharp edges or anything. So, but the Power Boy is just 2 keystones. Maybe you only need 1, but I think with that logo, it might boost it a little bit. So, and if you recall, I did talk to Adrian about this, but I talked to Jim. We are doing 7100, 24 volt, like the new stuff we use. And it's going to make 2009 LEDs look horrible. Hopefully not too bad, but it is what it is. So, but you're going to roll keystones. Maybe you only need 1, but we'll do 2. And the idea is that you're going to hand bend these back. I'm going to have a bend scribe on the back. Obviously, you can't do anything about it. But you're going to do these probably a little more than 45. But the idea is that you can then shoot, you can get an extension boy in there, and then that's just going to sit on these tabs. And so you'll be able to kind of toaster slot. I kind of was practicing with this. I think you can do it. But if you can slide this in and kind of, make it work. So you should be able to work it in within the constraints of sliding that in there and then rotating it, and then you should be able to get your frap on that. Man, this thing is, I don't know what's going on. This thing is not liking this conversion thing. My computer's asleep, I guess. Monday, come on, computer, wake up. So anyway, and then when you go to put it on there, though, I have a little cover for water. So theoretically, this should be damp location. Water shouldn't get to this. And you have your bonding. And then similar to your Discovery Cube kind of thing, we want to keep this permanent because this can come out and we don't want anybody to get zapped. So I have a little 90 boy over here, or maybe less than 90, but you can get the gun in there. But you're going to need to make a kind of extendo leash to stay permanently bonded for your grounding for this whole thing, because it'll come out. But anyway, that's how it'll be. The backer goes there. You'll put the top there. You can rivet that part. This part here gets riveted to this part here, and then this will be a front door that kind of covers everything right here. That can be frap comes off. Anyway, so that's where power goes, and then you just have to run your leash all the way along here. Remember to keep wiring off. Try to tuck it up out of the way so it doesn't get water, and it has to be a 1/2 inch off the bottom. We all know that, right? Class, yes. Anyway, so that's it. Just, Raceway kind of thing, but I just want to kind of point out that, and then maybe just give you a little heads up of what's out there. And so, yeah, so anyway, this is going away, and then install is just going to reinstall the logo onto our new Raceway. So anyway, so that's it. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Check the